You're listening to Ecommerce Fastlane, the podcast show to help you build, manage, grow, and scale a successful and thriving company, powered by Shopify. Listen to real conversations with partners and subject matter experts as they share proven practical strategies, platforms, and the best Shopify apps to help you accelerate your business. The time is now for you to improve efficiencies, grow revenue, profit, and lifetime customer loyalty. Please welcome your host, startup founder, and strategic advisor, Steve Hutt.
Welcome back to Ecommerce Fastlane. My name is Steve Hutt. Thanks so much for tuning in today. With so many podcasts out there, I massively appreciate that you're picking today's show. You're going to gain a lot of insights and a lot of knowledge really around growing and scaling your Shopify brand. And remember, all our episodes are available on all of your favorite podcasts and all the apps available like Apple Podcasts and Spotify and Google, YouTube. We're also now streaming live on Amazon Music. So if you consume some of your content or watch video on Amazon, you might want to go check out Amazon Music and you'll see Ecommerce Fastlane there. But for a deep dive into all our topics and additional resources, I highly recommend that you go over to ecommercefastlane.com. There'll be a show notes. There we'll have some extended insights, some links and some resources, and there'll even be a little bonus for today's episode for all our listeners. So today I'm excited to welcome Matty Ram, who is the CEO of a company called AdScale. So it's AD and then Scale. Now, they're an advertising platform, really, and they're using AI to replace PPC agencies. And the only way to get results, from my opinion, in PPC these days really is by using data that's directly inside your Shopify stores. This would be your first-party data. And unfortunately, but it's good for AdScale, is that Google and Facebook don't have first-party data. So they don't really understand the customer's journey and their purchase histories and signing up for things. So AdScale, what it does, it connects directly to your Shopify store and is using AI to analyze both your business and your advertising data. And then what it does is it builds customer segments, it creates highly targeted advertising campaigns, and it just runs in the background 24/7. So it's fully optimized all in the background for you. This is all through AI. And so I read a lot of case studies kind of just before recording today, and the results speak for themselves. Like, honestly, they have an average revenue increase of over 30% within 1 year. And that's all, most importantly, without raising your advertising budget. So they really know how to optimize and fine tune. So I'm really excited to unpack this because I think CAC, this customer acquisition cost, and this unfortunate blended ROAS problem we have right now, this is a really great solution where I don't need to increase my budget, but I get better efficiencies out of the other end. So let's jump in and learn more. So hi, Matty. Welcome to Ecommerce Fastlane.
Hi, Steve. Thank you for inviting me to the podcast. I'm really excited to be here.
I'm excited to unpack this because, my history with Shopify and a lot of brands that I manage, and I truly mean at the top of the show that acquisition costs are quite high, and especially getting through this Q4 season right now, we know that it's fierce. I think Harley Finkelstein got in and the billions of dollars that were spent over BFCM, it's clear that the engine is not going down. It's actually increasing kind of quote unquote post-pandemic. And so because of this fierce competition, so does the cost of acquiring net new customers. And so this is where I believe your tool is actually becoming almost like a hidden gem for a lot of brands. So it won't be so hidden after this podcast recording, but I don't want to put words in your mouth because, you being the CEO, you really understand the platform. So I just would like to understand a little more about the platform itself and then some of the problems that you see it solving today.
Of course. So first of all, we replaced the traditional PPC agency with AI advertising. As you mentioned, we all see how customer acquisition costs in paid ads are skyrocketing, squeezing e-commerce brands to the brink of profitability and slowing the growth. AdScale is an advertising platform that helps you get better results with Google and Facebook ads using first-party data and AI. I think that the term of first-party data needs to be maybe even betterly explained. I think it was March 2021, the entire advertising industry has changed forever. iOS 14.5 was launched, and actually effectively the usage of the third-party cookie which served as the main vehicle to track user behavior ever since the internet was invented, right? I mean, the Google and Facebook became Google and Facebook thanks to the third-party cookie. It allowed them to serve personalized ads, and all the budgets shifted from TV and radio and print into digital. So this third-party cookie that made Google and Facebook so successful and rich, it is dying due to the privacy regulation, which makes Google and Facebook less accurate. So ever since then, I mean, almost 3 years ago it started, but ever since then, everybody sees a drop in ad performance. The only way to solve it is with first-party data. What is first-party data? First-party data is your store's data. It's your customer data, it's your orders data, it's your products data. It is the most accurate data, it's the most extensive data, and as you said before, Google and Facebook, they don't have that data, simply because they are not connected to the store. So the hypothesis is that if we can take that data and make Google and Facebook more accurate with that, maybe we have something interesting in hands that can distinguish us from all the others. But first-party data is actually big data. In order to use it effectively, you need computing power. And that's what we do. We bring to the table the computing power and a very easy-to-use system that helps you to advertise with first-party data and with AI, and we'll probably touch the AI parts along our conversation in order to improve your ad performance. I honestly don't believe there is any other way today to make ad performance back instead of using first-party data. That's the only way today.
It's interesting too, you bring up the first-party data, and I tout a lot about the zero-party data, like asking customers questions and enriching the customer record. I think is another important, maybe separate topic for a different podcast, but like through quizzes and certain things like that, and saying, how do we enrich because what you don't want to do is have an ad go out to someone who's a cat person when they have a dog. And so that's the whole idea, maybe the zero-party data side of it too. So I want to move a bit over to the founding story, because it always fascinates me, like why people build what they build, because I think there's a larger story than just, I want monthly recurring revenue in a SaaS company. I mean, that's kind of the pinnacle of making an income online is this kind of recurring revenue, but you really are truly solving problems and you really are partners. I mean, I've read quite a few of the reviews in the Shopify App Store, and you have over 400 of them and a really high rating. And honestly, like the people are just massively love your solution because it really does improve efficiencies and it's really helping them. And so I would like to understand, like, where did the founding story come from? Who are the people in the organization? I mean, obviously you're the CEO of the company, but what's the overall kind of journey and the inspiration behind the brand?
So that's an interesting story because we did not grow up in the marketing industry or in the e-commerce industry. We are just a group of mathematicians. Our story started 20 years ago when we founded a risk management software company. Most of our customers were financial institutes, banks, insurance companies, credit card companies, publicly traded companies as well. And at that time when we started, we just didn't have enough money to do proper sales with ground force. So we started advertising on Google, which was still young by itself on these days, in order to generate leads. And with the time, we became more and more sophisticated. We started with writing scripts, and then we realized that scripts is a deterministic model to a stochastic world, so it's not going to work. So we started developing algorithms, and we became better and better. And with that, we improved our advertising. Our company became quite successful. It was acquired by a large firm traded in the NASDAQ. And we spent some good few years with that firm. And when we started thinking about our next journey, we realized that our technology could help actually many other companies that wants to improve the ads. And that's how AdScale was born, to help brands to improve their advertising with AI.
That's lovely. And then, so how many founders are there altogether?
So we are 2 founders and a group of another 20 people that were with us all over the journey in the last almost 20 years. Of course, more people joined along the way, but the core people are working together for almost 20 years. We brought 3 solutions to the market. Each one of them was I'm proud to say that was quite successful. And now we are in AdScale and we love what we do. I think that's the most important thing.
This is lovely because I see that, there significantly more than 5,000 brands are actually currently connected to AdScale. So it's very clear. And there's some really like major brands from Speedo to Pat McGrath Labs. And there's a lot. So it's very clear that people have vetted the solution, have made a decision to use it and are seeing the upside, which I think is amazing. One thing I want to talk a little bit about is competition in the space, because I think there's kind of two sides to it. It's either you go the agency route. Well, actually, probably three sides. There's, do it in-house and you just kind of like hope and pray that, your marketer or your acquisition manager, that they bring a certain skill set and a certain toolbox and they kind of like do their thing and you kind of trust them, and reporting rolls up to the director of e-commerce or the CEO and CFO of the business. So you have the in-house person, then you have the agency opportunity. And that happens to a lot of brands that I know of where they like, hey, we're not experts in acquisition, but we believe we know what a great kind of CPA target is, a cost per acquisition target. We're willing to spend $40 to acquire a net new customer because that's a break even for us. And so based on an average order value and a gross margin. So we have that option, going to an agency and having them responsible for it. And then the other side is maybe leveraging your tool. And so I think there are other different tools out there that I've seen. So how do you kind of differentiate yourself kind of in the tool space and saying, hey, there are notable peers, there are some optimization opportunities out there and other tools, but like how does AdScale, other than clearly your experience in this space, but like how do you set yourself apart? Like what's the unique value that AdScale brings versus maybe others in the Shopify world?
I think that the short answer is that we have a real AI technology that really brings results, but I guess that's not enough. As I said, we took a different approach to the problem. We didn't try to just optimize the campaigns or apply all kind of methodologies on the ads. We start one step before, and this is understanding the business. So we have a BI module, a business intelligence module. And for our AdScale Plus customers, we run a tool called AdScale Growth Roadmap, which shows us what are the things that you can improve in the business in order to grow. And for every business, there are strengths and there are weaknesses. There are things that you can improve and will not move the needle. And there are things that you should improve and will move the needle. So we look first of all, from the business point of view, and we compare the business to other competitors in the same vertical. And we try to say what are the things that we should improve with advertising in order to move the needle. Once we have that, from there, we can, the system is doing that by itself. We don't do anything, but the AI understands what are the things that needs to be improved. It could be the repeat customer rate or the repurchase frequency or the customer lifetime value or something in the correlation of how you spend the money and how your ads how your revenue is coming along the week or along the day, or, dozens of others metrics that we evaluate. And we build campaigns that are coming to answer that goal, coming to improve that. And we usually do that also with AI segments. As you mentioned before, the issue of zero-party data versus first-party data is substantial. With zero-party data, you have a guess about who is the customer. With first-party data, you already know quite a lot of things. You know who they are and where do they live and what do they buy. And then you have some more information about the product that they are buying, which is maybe a consumable product or product out of a category. So you know who are the other people that are buying from the same category and what do they buy and which products are frequently bought together, and a lot of information that you can get once it's a first-party data. Which means that now we can leverage that data along acquisition, remarketing, and retargeting. The nice thing about Facebook and recently also with Google is that we can use these AI segments in order to offer cat food for people with cat and dog food for people with dogs very accurately, right? And the usage of the first-party data actually reflects into the way that you build AI segments. The AI segments allows you to target the right customer with the right product at the right time on the right channel. And you cannot do it with zero-party data. I mean, you can do it, but I guess it will not be very accurate. So we just take a different approach, implemented in a very, very simple system to use in the front end, but very robust in the back end.
So I want to talk about like what happens when someone wants to try the AdScale platform. I want to kind of get to the meat and potatoes because I think people listen to the show like, okay, great. So you're having a lot of success, upwards of 30% kind of increased performance. You're doing things a little bit differently. We're going to apply AI. They go to the App Store and they find AdScale and they add it to their shop. Can you just briefly walk us through what happens once it's installed and kind of like what's going on in the background? And then what is the merchant, like what is their lift or their ask once the app is connected? So I guess there's two parts of it. Merchant workflow, and then what is AdScale doing in the back office? And then when are things kind of ready to launch?
So we basically have two types of customers and two types of solutions. Type number one is the DIY customers that wants to use the system by themselves. So they just get into Shopify, they download the app, they get 14 days free trial. Once the app is connected, we first of all analyze the first party data. It's a process that takes a few hours, with big shops can take even up to 24 hours. And then they get the business intelligence module that shows them dozens of dashboards that helps us to analyze the key performance indicators and much more. That's stage number one. From there, they can go to the ads module. And in the ads module, they get a very simple wizard. You don't have to be a marketing guru in order to use AdScale. Basically, you don't have to do anything. You just go to the wizard and the system guides you through the process. So all the things that the system learns in stage A, in the BI stage where we learn the first party data, are injected into the campaign creation stage. The system will tell you exactly what to do. It will recommend you which products to offer and on which channel, which people to target, what type of ads to create. You have AI ad copy with ChatGPT built in, tailored for advertising, so you don't need to be a copywriter. You have AI image ads created by the system. You have AI video ads created by the system. So simply, you just need to go through the wizard and do next. The system will launch the campaigns for you on Google and Facebook. It will deploy a attribution technology, our own proprietary attribution technology, that matches every click on Google and Facebook with an order ID. So we avoid duplicated conversions. We avoid all the things that you see in the analytics that doesn't match up. We don't have it. We have a clear map of the user journey. And it will start running your campaigns and optimizing them. Now, optimization happens with budget, with bid, but also with structure. So from time to time, you'll get tips from the system offering you things that you should do, either create a new ad with a new copy and a new image, or narrow an ad or stop an ad or any other thing. There are many, many tips that proactively optimizes your campaigns next to the bid and budget optimization that maybe we can talk about that as well, how it works. So that's for the DIY customers. There's also a big group of customers who are saying, I don't want to touch the system, do it for me. And then we have AdScale Plus. It's a solution that next to the system, you get a group of growth report experts that are running the ads on AdScale for you. And over there, the process starts with a growth report. We run a growth roadmap for your system, for your business. It's quite a dedicated report that shows us where are the opportunities, and then we build a strategy with you. So it's just like Shopify Plus versus Shopify, the same with AdScale. You have AdScale Plus if you want someone else to do the work for you and you just want to be informed about what's happening. So both options are available.
What I find interesting too, I've dealt with some agencies that unfortunately they don't allow the ads to run because they have some kind of proprietary system where they don't allow clients' ads to run in their own ads account. They actually create new ads accounts on behalf of these clients and run them through there separately. The challenge I find with that is just not having any legacy data. The data really belongs to the merchant. And if there's a software vendor or, a service provider that's doing the work on behalf of the client, and that's where I think AdScale fits into it. So you're suggesting with the AdScale Plus opportunities that there still is the Facebook Ads Manager. There's still the Google Ads Manager. You're still logging into Google Ads. And so the information still resides there, physically owned by the brand. However, it's connected to AdScale, and AdScale is helping make decisions of, as you said, image, the bid rules, and then all the optimization and things that are going on in the background. I just want to make sure I get some clarity on that.
So in both solutions, both AdScale and AdScale Plus, our first preference is to use the customer's ad accounts. And that's what really happens in 99% of the cases. Sometimes when new shops come in, they have no ad account on Google and Facebook and they want us to open it. So we do that with API, but they still own it. So we give them the authorization. We never own the accounts. By the way, the customers are paying for the ad spend to Google and Facebook directly. We do not collect that money, so we play very clean. And sometimes the issue is not just with the ad account, which we always prefer that will be the customer's ad account, and that's usually what happens. It's also about the pixel deployment. We see a lot of stores that are coming with pixels that are not really reporting correctly, and all the problem starts over there. And that's a huge problem, by the way. And we have a solution that deploys our own pixel on their account. So even with that, we don't need our own account, and they can use their legacy account and enjoy the entire historical data. And that's part of the solution, of course.
It's good info. Thanks for sharing that. Let's talk about optimizing campaigns, because you kind of brought it up. And I think that's an interesting concept of, not asking for the full secret sauce of kind of how you're doing it, but like, what are the high level concepts and principles around how AdScale is using AI to optimize campaigns?
So first of all, I think we need to talk about why using a third-party tool to optimize campaigns, because it seems like Google and Facebook have their own internal optimization. So I guess
they do, and they want to spend your money.
Yeah, that's one big reason for that, but there are some others. First of all, we need to understand that Google and Facebook, they have a walled garden between them. Google sees only Google, Facebook sees only Facebook. We see the customer. More than that, Google and Facebook, they do not have budget optimization module, right? You just give your budget and they spend it when they think. And the idea here is actually to create a platform that optimizes the campaigns across Google and Facebook. So it will move budgets from Google to Facebook when Facebook works better and vice versa, and from campaign A to campaign B in real time. The same with the bids, the same with the structure. I'll touch about it in a second. This is not something that you can get from Google and Facebook. Plus, as you said, each one of them, Google and Facebook, they need to satisfy millions of customers. And we just need to satisfy our 5,000 plus customers. So we are just working for them. Now, how does it work? There are three types of optimization. There's budget optimization, bid optimization, and structure optimization. Let's take, for example, the budget optimization, which is an interesting topic to explain. When we say budget optimization, we actually mean that we want to maximize the revenue. Usually that's the goal, to maximize the revenue in the given budget. And in order to do that, we first of all need to create a distribution for every campaign in Google and every ad set in Facebook, because that's where you define budgets. And this distribution shows us the correlation between the ad spend and the revenue. We look at all the sightings, we create a regression line, we use regression analysis. Without getting into too much mathematics, I would just say that the regression line presents the line with the minimum variance between all the sightings, which means that we can use that for prediction. Based on the historical data, we can predict for every given budget how many revenue we're going to get for every campaign in Google and every ad set in Facebook. Now, once we have that, which is stage number one, we go to stage number two, because the idea is not to optimize a specific campaign, it's to optimize the entire portfolio, to bring you the maximum out of all the maximums. And from that, we have a mathematical algorithms that are running and defining what is the optimum of the optimums. And it sets the budgets and predicts the budgets all the way to the end of the month. And then in stage three, it monitors the auctions 24 hours a day to see whether the prediction meets what we really see in real time. And if the real time results are different than the prediction, it makes intraday changes to fit into the new conditions. I'll give you maybe one example because I was talking in big words. If, for instance, in 8 o'clock in the evening, where the agency is watching football or basketball or soccer or what have you, the AI finds that the correlation in Google between the bid and the position is much better than the same hour in the previous days. It conducts that most likely that our competitors are out of budget, which means that it's a great opportunity to collect all the impressions in like no money. So it will bring budgets maybe from Facebook, will increase the budget, will drop the bids down, will collect all the impressions for very low price, and will give us 4 hours of great results. This is just one sample of many other intraday opportunities that you can leverage when you have an AI optimizing your campaigns 24/7. It's like having an entire department of 100 people working for you 24 hours a day, no vacations, they never go home, they never go asleep. That's the equivalent.
Yeah. That's amazing. I just think of some of the brands, like I said, that I managed when I was at Shopify, and I know the amount of work that was involved in spreadsheets and managing it. Fair enough. Like I said, Google can go out and spend, and Facebook will go out and spend your money. And yes, there's different types of campaigns to try to maximize your ROAS or trying to get something within a certain delivery bid. And just at the end of the day, you're just trying to get the best results possible. It's even happened before where, and I'm sure your tool solves this problem, is the whole creative fatigue. Like, meaning that at some point, it really isn't the text in the ad. Sometimes it's just the creative that's in it, where it's lost its luster, or there's other competitors that are just kind of doing something better or more exciting through motion or other different things. And so I just would love your feedback on that. Your tool does a lot. Definitely things are going on in the background from an optimization perspective, but on the front end, using your AI, are we getting fresh new ads out there? And is this concept of creative fatigue, is that actually a thing? And do creatives over time start degrading their performance?
First of all, the short answer is yes. Creatives are degrading, but in each and every creative and for each and every customer, the degradation curve looks differently. So all the rule-based solutions like upload a creative, give it 2 weeks. If not, just take it off. It doesn't prove itself, okay?
Yeah.
It's something that it is different from customer to customer, but generally, yes, there is a kind of a Gauss curve that creative starts, it gets to its peak, and then starts degrading. Obviously, we look at that, and we look at that from 2 perspectives. First of all, the creative generation. As I stated before, we use the generative AI technologies within our tool to create ads, and when we recommend on ads, we look at creatives that worked before in order to use similar things, definitely. But it also works with the optimization, because assume that you don't have a very good creative. When you don't use optimization, it just get the budgets that you give it. But when you use AI optimization, this is another layer of protection, right? If something doesn't work, it will not get budgets or bids. So the system will not give it too much. So with that said, I think that once you have this protection, you don't need to be afraid with running new versions of creative all the time. Because as you said, creative is one of the most important things that affect the results, especially in Facebook. In Google, you have less place for creative, of course.
Right. I'd say like even one of the KPIs would be click-through rate. I think that's a really good indicator of content fatigue, especially on stable ad accounts. Is kind of from what I've seen. I think really to avoid this, you need to keep producing and improving your content as best you can. And I think you're absolutely right. Every brand is different. Who knows what the shelf life is for content, but it could be months or it could be a day. Who knows, right?
That's true. That's true. And sometimes even years, by the way. We've seen that as well.
Really?
Yeah,
oh, wow.
Yeah. You see customers with the same creative for years. 1 or 2 ads are the best ads for years. It's unbelievable, but it works.
Yeah.
Not always, obviously. That's not the common case, but I've seen that as well.
I want to get into a story now because I think it's really motivational for me. I notice my listeners when they hear a real life success story. I know you have a lot of them because there's like over 400, like almost 5-star reviews in the Shopify App Store, and even going into adscale.com and going onto your resources page. There's lots of information in there and testimonials and things like that. So hopefully I don't put you on the spot here, but I'd love to hear a story around, I guess, a Shopify brand ideally that maybe face some challenges with their CAC or their ROAS, or they just feel they're not getting the best value out of their money, or there's a lot of competition, or they're not profitable. I mean, that's even the worst thing. You spend all this money and yes, you're selling, but then you're net negative. And, then you're forced to, how am I getting the second and third sale? It gets into that retention question and kind of quandary. So if you can maybe share, and I see lots of logos and things on the website, but is any one in particular that we can talk about publicly and kind of what happened before AdScale, and then why do they continue using AdScale today?
Well, let's take, for example, Ed Hardy, which is an apparel store selling all kinds of unique apparel with tattoos printed on it. They joined our AdScale Plus program, I think it was about a year ago. And like every AdScale Plus customer, we start with the store growth roadmap. So we generated a report for them. And as I explained before, this report benchmarks the store performance against the industry, but benchmarking dozens of critical matrices. And what we found is that there are three things that if we improve, will move the needle substantially. And the three things were A, reducing the customer acquisition cost for returning customers. So the customer acquisition cost for new customers was okay, but the customer acquisition cost of returning customers was almost like the new customers, which doesn't make any sense. You want it to be 60% lower. You don't want to pay a lot for a customer and then buy him again for a lot of money. So that was point number one. Point number two, which we found, is that generally we need to increase the repeat customer rate and to shorten the repurchase frequency. So these were the three things that, based on the growth roadmap, we found that will move the needle. So the AI campaigns that were generated were focusing on improving these figures, and we did it with AI segments. The system generated AI segments. Just to give you an example of a segment, the segment over there was people that are likely to repurchase soon. And it's a segment that is analyzing the repurchase frequency of people, the repurchase frequency of the products that they are buying, the repurchase frequency of people like them that are buying the same products, etc., etc. And it comes in the end of the day with a group, it was a few thousand people there that have the highest likelihood to buy now. And this is a dynamic group that every day people are getting in and out of the segment based on their behavior. So if you target these people with the right offering, you have much higher chances to make results. And that's what we did with this segment and some other segments. All of these three parameters have improved dramatically. The results are unbelievable. We managed to triple, even more than triple the revenue in 1 year. It's not something that happens often. We don't triple results for customers in 1 year. Usually we make a great success, but tripling the results, tripling the revenue is not easy in 1 year, as you know. And we see that as a great success based on the AI analysis that we've done and the very accurate campaigns that were generated. I think that's a very interesting case study.
Yeah, and actually I put that and the links to other case studies in the show notes too, I think, just to kind of show people that, hey, lots of others have vetted solutions. They've done it in-house. They've done it with other tools. They've hired a PPC agency. But now once and for all, we can finally start applying kind of generative AI and a lot of skill and intelligence around the platform that actually really will optimize. And at the end of the day, maybe not triple, but certainly, as you mentioned, like even on an average of 30% increase over the year, that's a lot of performance difference. And so that's exciting. That's available right now. I want to talk about narratives in an industry. I love this question. I thought about it recently about that every industry has its own kind of talking points. And sometimes there's some misconceptions around that industry. And so, you're clearly a math expert. You're clearly into wanting to improve efficiencies as best you can from an ads perspective and reducing CAC and improving the ROAS and stuff for e-commerce brands. But are there any myths or anything that you would like to address or debunk as it relates to what your software does for Shopify brands?
So the first one is that you need to be an expert or to hire an expert to run successful e-commerce ad campaigns. I think that AdScale proved that you don't need that. I would suggest to be very careful with the tips that you get on Google and Facebook telling you to increase the budget. Not always it's the right the right recommendation. If you want to optimize, sometimes you have to play offensive, sometimes you have to play defensive. It's not something that is always true. I think that the idea of set and forget doesn't work anymore. You need a constant optimization of your campaigns, because in the end of the day, it's a zero-sum game. If you're using a set and forget method and someone else is using AI, it'll probably have better results than you. So you cannot allow yourself anymore just to put the ads and forget them. They need to be constantly improved, because in today's business, there's no other way. So I think these three things are very important to be noted.
Did a quick Google search while you were chatting about Google and the fact that maybe we shouldn't always listen to what they say about wanting to increase this and increase that. Because at the end of the day, in 2022, Google's ad revenue was $225 billion. So
yep.
It's very clear they know what to do. And this is obviously on their own side and network properties and things like that and apps and things. But at the end of the day, it's typically always in kind of, it is a public company for profit. And yes, they have this facade a little bit about, playing nicely, being evil and this and that. But at the end of the day, it's just, I think it comes back to the same first party data thing again, where they don't have that. And it's also, they don't have the cross channel knowledge of like what great looks like on Facebook either though. And I think that's kind of the power of AdScale, of knowing the success of Facebook as it relates to Google and then saying, well, it's kind of working over there and differentiating and making decisions based on that. So it's quite interesting. I have another question here for you that I think is an interesting one. Is about, and I know we touched on a little bit about the PPC agency side, but I'm curious if, even though I know we have the DIYers and then we have, the AdScale Plus opportunity, like, do you feel that AdScale is trying to replace PPC agencies, or do you feel this complements that? Or maybe are there agencies using your tool that clients don't even know are even running it?
Yes. I think that the future of advertising is in AI. I don't think it's in agencies. I think that the AI is replacing most of the work that the PPC agency is doing. AI can handle unlimited data. It works 24 hours to optimize your campaigns. What you usually get from an agency, which has an account manager with, 30, 40, 50 customers, and it can only allow to spend 2-3 hours a week or even a month on your campaigns. You cannot compare that. And I think that the fact that AI gets into the generative AI area very quickly with copy, with video, with images, makes your life much more easy, much more independent, and you can, with quite cheap price after all, utilize the technology that does more than an agency and which charges much more than that. So I definitely think that we replace agencies, and I think that the technology is what replaces the agency, because in the end of the day, if you want to be competitive, you cannot rely on few changes a month. It needs to be constantly optimized, and that's the only way to keep your ads sharp at all times. So I do see ourselves as the ones that are replacing the agencies. Yes.
I know content marketing and just content production for telling a brand story, or ranking high in Google for organic search or share of search and stuff like that. And for a talented writer in today's day and age, is foolish to not use some AI tools to kind of at least help with a content brief of some sort, to kind of like get your thoughts in order about what you want to write about. I'm not saying that you just want to add a keyword and have your writing tool of choice to blast out a 5,000 word article and publish it, because like that over time is not going to work. But on the flip side though, it's leveraging AI along with the human intervention, I think is quite interesting, at least from a content perspective. And I think still like using the AdScale tool, it's like, yes, there are some recommendations and you're going to see that in the platform. And at the end of the day, you get to approve or disapprove based on certain ranges and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, the platform has your back, right? They really are there to optimize as absolutely as best they can by using mathematics and first party data. So I think that's really exciting. I want to talk about like the future of the tool, because, here we are now in 2024 and we're Facebook and Google. Where do you see the tool kind of evolving? I mean, how long have you been running now? Since 2018, I believe.
Yes.
I think you've been running for a while. So like, where's the future of the tool headed?
So we see two angles that we will keep developing. One angle is the generative AI, as said, video ads, images, text ads, and we have some more surprises coming towards 2024. I think that the generative AI is becoming better and better in the next few years. It is going to mature and evolve, and the things that you can do with that are basically unlimited.
It's wild, yeah.
We spoke about the creative fatigue. Think how easy it is to to cross the fatigue with AI. So I think that's one direction which we are investing a lot. I would say that I guess half of our R&D team is around the generative AI things that we are adding in. And the other one is with more platforms. I mean, Google and Facebook are here to stay. I don't think that they're going to vanish. And to be honest, that's still the most two important platforms to generate new business. But some other platforms are getting there. TikTok, which we plan to add in 2024, and some other platforms as well. So these are the two angles that we take. I just want to mention, we discussed before about, whether to use AI or not to use AI, agencies or not. I think it's important to mention to our listeners that throughout the history, companies that adapted new technology thrived and grew, and the other companies, we don't remember them, right? So I think that we are in a very, very specific place in history where the AI is coming in. It is so robust and so powerful that you don't want to miss it. So whether you take AdScale or other AI solutions, don't miss out the AI revolution. It can take your business to a totally different place. The technology is there. You just need to use it, and it makes your life much easier. So just don't be on the wrong side of history. I strongly recommend to think about it.
Yeah. And I wrote a lot of notes. That's a really good point. Like, I believe that advertising, it really does require, in today's day and age, it really does require you to have an edge. And I think AI that's one of the advantages of your tool, is it gives you that edge. I think that's important because there's got to be a way of differentiating yourself. If you're the one spending thousands of dollars, and some brands are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars a month that I manage, and it's like, they need that edge. They need that incrementality of what a platform like yours can do. Where do you want to go is kind of like the next step? So people have listened to the show. They're like, hey, yes, I want to improve the efficiencies of my PPC game as it relates to Facebook and Google, soon as my Gen Zs and my TikTokers soon coming. So like, what do we want to do as our next steps, and saying, hey, yeah, I want to try this thing out. We have a 14-day free trial. Is there anything else that you'd like to discuss?
So the simple way is just to install AdScale via the App Store. You get a 14 days free trial. The system will guide you through the process. If something is not clear, just write us in the chat and our customer success team will help you. We also invite you to follow our LinkedIn and Facebook articles. We have some nice content over there. We try to bring high-level content. We are establishing soon a course called Moving the Needle with in-depth explanations of how you can use smart mathematics, simple mathematics to run your business better. So just follow us. And if you just want to start, go to either adscale.com or to Shopify App Store, install AdScale, sign up, and you get 14 days free trial, and you can try the platform.
It's lovely. I love the name Moving the Needle. What a great podcast name.
Definitely.
Don't trademark it, but that's a phenomenal name.
Thank you.
I love it. Well, Matty, this has been very eye-opening for me. I know there's opportunity for those that are listening today that, hey, once again, if you're unhappy or believe there potentially is a way of squeezing out more performance without increasing your budget, kind of what I said at the beginning of the show, you don't need to increase your budget. Your fee of the AdScale platform scales based on monthly fee, but it's a very affordable level. But at the end, the net is more revenue and a better performance overall with the exact same ad spend. And so, which is going to equal more profit for you as a brand owner. So adscale.com, that's definitely a great place to go. Your blog is phenomenal. You have 1,000 people reading your blog right now, and I can see the view throughs and stuff like that. So you're creating some great content, a lot of great education. I'm excited to see what happens with this course about Move the Needle. I'll put all these things in the show notes. Once again, thank you so much for coming on the show and kind of sharing your knowledge and your journey. Thanks for building this tool. Thanks for helping Shopify merchants. Everybody needs this edge. And I think you're right. You got to make sure that you don't lose out in this time of history right now, because Gen AI is here to stay. And you're right, it's only improving. And get involved now, because I know you guys are in the forefront of really wanting to help, and you're very niche specific about just ad performance. And I just love this. So thanks again for coming on the show.
Thank you, Steve. And we have a special offer for the listeners, not only that they can connect with AdScale. We've built a specific landing page in AdScale.com, AdScale.com/Fastlane. And over there, you can get AdScale growth analysis roadmap tailored to your store for free. This report, which I mentioned before, it dives deep into your store's data, offering an extensive evaluation of your performance, comparing your store's performance across dozens of KPIs to your competitors, and showing you what is the right path to success. So that's our gift for the listeners. It's usually we charge $490 for this service, but now we give it for free for all Ecommerce Fastlane listeners. So just go to adscale.com/Fastlane, fill in the form, and we will contact you back.
Beautiful. And I'm there right now on the form. And yeah, put in your email address, your phone number, and your store vertical, submit that through, and then you're going to get this store growth report as a really good starting point. And then get this app installed and actually try it out. So this is phenomenal. I'm going to put a couple merchants in here myself manually, because I know they need you. So this is great. Well, once again, Matty, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Steve. It was a pleasure.
All right. Well, that's it for today's episode. I'd like to thank you personally for being a loyal listener of Ecommerce Fastlane. It's my hope that this podcast is offering you a ton of value through growth strategies, tactics, and exclusive insider tips on the best Shopify apps and marketing platforms, all with my personal goal to help you build, manage, grow, and scale a successful and thriving company powered by Shopify. Thanks for investing some time today and listening to the show. I'm so proud and excited that you have a growth mindset and are a constant learner. I truly appreciate you and your entrepreneurial journey. Enjoy the rest of the week and keep thriving with Shopify.